Welcome to Kiss and Chapters, where every story begins with a spark and ends with a swoon. If you love heart-fluttering romances, unexpected twists, and characters you'll root for, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so I can keep bringing you more sweet, emotional, and unforgettable stories. Let's fall in love with every chapter, together. Chapter 1. Morning Coffee Plot Confusion. When Yuan Ru opened her eyes, the first thing she noticed was the golden morning light streaming through a set of tall, elegant windows. Windows she had never seen before. The second thing she noticed was the unfamiliar scent of lavender linen and minty air freshener. And the third was that the body she sat up in was not hers. A scream bubbled in her throat, but it came out as a strangled gasp instead. She stared at her reflection in the glossy black mirror above the vanity. Gone were her oversized college t-shirt, tangled bun, and panda-themed pajamas. In their place was a crisp baby blue blouse with pearl buttons, loose waves of silky brown hair, and a face that was definitely not her own. She looked like one of those perfectly drawn side characters in a romantic web novel. Then it hit her. "Oh no," she whispered, slowly backing away from the mirror. No. No. Her legs bumped into a velvet stool and she collapsed onto it, wide-eyed. This can't be real. This isn't happening. But when she pinched herself, the sensation was sharp and very real. She even left a faint red mark on her arm. Her eyes scanned the room again. Past the vanity. Past the neatly folded stacks of soft pastels in the wardrobe. Past the purse on the table with a student ID clipped to the zipper. She stood shakily and picked up the ID. Yuan Ru. Literature major. Eastwood University. Yuan Ru? That was her name. But this face definitely didn't belong to the Yuan Ru who'd pulled an all-nighter reading Moonlit Strings, her favorite boys' love novel. The one where the cold Xiao type Gu Qing slowly melted for the sunshine student Lin Yuhan. It clicked. The name. The pristine college dorm she had just read about last night. She wasn't dreaming. She had transmigrated into the novel. And not just any character. If she remembered correctly, Yuan Ru in the novel was the bright, loyal best friend of the main couple. The one who always gave love advice, played matchmaker, and never had a romance of her own. "Oh my God," she whispered, pacing now. "I'm the supporting character. The bestie. The third wheel." She clutched her face dramatically. "I'm comic relief." Before she could spiral further, her phone buzzed. The screen read, "Kuching." Even the font looked expensive. With shaking fingers, she tapped to open the message. "Gu Qing, Lin Yuhan's late again. Want to grab coffee first?" "Gu Qing, I'll wait outside." Yuan Ru stared at the screen. Maybe this was her chance. In the novel, this was the chapter where she helped Gu Qing and Lin Yuhan finally talk things out over coffee. If she could just nudge things in the right direction, maybe she could keep the story on track. "No improvising," she muttered to herself. "Stick to the script." She threw on a light cardigan, grabbed the purse, and marched out the door. Outside, morning sunlight bathed the campus in a golden hue. Cherry blossoms fluttered down like confetti, catching in her hair as she jogged toward the cafe at the front of Eastwood University. And there he was. Immaculately dressed. Leaning casually against the black railing like a K-drama male lead. Gu Qing. His black button-down shirt hugged his frame like it had been tailored by angels. His cold gaze softened ever so slightly when he saw her approach. "You're 5 minutes late," he said. Yuan Ru forced a smile. "Good morning to you too, Prince Ice Cube." He blinked at her, almost amused. "You're unusually cheerful today." "Well, someone has to be," she said, grabbing the door handle and holding it open. "Lin Yuhan's always the sunshine. I can be the clouds." Gu Qing gave a soft, unreadable sound, half chuckle, half sigh, and walked inside. The cafe was warm and cozy, with large bay windows letting in streams of light. They ordered, Gu Qing his usual black coffee, Yuan Ru a caramel latte, and sat at a table by the window. "So how was your morning?" she asked, trying to sound casual. He raised an eyebrow. "Same as every other day." "Right." Gu Qing wasn't one for small talk. She tried again. "You look sharp. Planning to impress someone?" "No," he replied and then sipped his coffee. "But Lin Yuhan does seem to like this color." Yuan Ru grinned. The plot is working." She was about to suggest texting Lin Yuhan a cute emoji when the bell above the door chimed again. And in walked the most unexpected character of all. Liang Shen. Yuan Ru froze. Liang Shen was the novel's bad boy. The misunderstood rebel. The side character who interfered with the main couple's happiness for 1 or 2 chapters, before disappearing mysteriously. He was meant to stir drama, not coffee. Dressed in a dark hoodie and ripped jeans with a lollipop in his mouth and a glint of danger in his eyes, he looked like every do not approach warning sign ever drawn. But instead of causing trouble, he walked up to their table. Yuan Ru, he said coolly. Mind if I sit here? Gucheng blinked. There are other tables. Liang Shen popped the lollipop from his mouth and looked right at Yuan Ru. But I like this view. He stared at him, brain buffering. This was not in the script. What was he doing here? I guess, she said awkwardly. Liang Shen pulled out a chair and plopped down like he owned it. Gucheng stiffened. What do you want? To drink my coffee in peace, Liang replied, waving to the waiter. Americano. No sugar. Then he turned his gaze to Yuan Ru again. You always get caramel latte? She blinked. Yeah. He gave a low hum. Too sweet. Doesn't match your attitude. I'll take that as a compliment. You shouldn't. Gucheng leaned back, arms crossed. Do you know each other? No, Yuan Ru said quickly. I mean, sort of. Not really. Liang Shen smirked, his eyes never leaving hers. We met once. Behind the library. Her heart stopped. What? I don't remember that. He leaned in slightly. You don't remember the rain? Or the umbrella you handed me? Umbrella? Her brain searched the original novel, but she didn't recall any scene like that. Was he making it up? Gucheng looked between them. Why were you behind the library? I wasn't, she said, voice high. I mean, maybe I was. But not in a weird way. Liang Shen chuckled softly. You're fun. And then before anyone could stop him, he reached over and plucked a cherry blossom from her hair. The motion was casual, smooth, almost romantic. Yuan Ru froze. Gucheng looked like someone had slapped him. Well, Liang said, standing up just as his coffee arrived, I'll take this to go. He looked directly at Yuan Ru, eyes glinting with something unreadable. See you tomorrow morning, sunshine. And then he walked out, leaving Gucheng and Yuan Ru staring after him in stunned silence. Back in her dorm, Yuan Ru slammed her door shut and dropped onto the bed. What just happened? This wasn't how the story was supposed to go. Liang Shen wasn't supposed to notice her. He wasn't even supposed to exist this early in the plot. She rolled over and groaned into the pillow. If Liang Shen kept showing up like this, she wasn't going to be the sidekick anymore. She was going to end up with her own storyline. And worse. She wasn't sure she hated that idea. Chapter 2. The morning routine goes wrong. Yuan Ru had a plan. And like all good plans, it involved exactly 3 things. 1. Getting Gucheng and Lin Yuhan to bump into each other accidentally. 2. Staying as far away from Liang Shen as humanly possible. And 3. Pretending she wasn't falling apart inside over the fact that a villainous side character had called her sunshine. Okay, she muttered to herself as she stepped out of the dorm and into the soft morning breeze. Step 1. Step 2. Nudge the plot. Step 3. Pretend everything is fine. She was dressed in a mint green knit cardigan over a white sundress, paired with sneakers for casual cuteness. The sun had just peeked over the rooftops and the university courtyard was still sleepy, painted with a soft haze of gold. It was the perfect time for an adorable romance scene. Gucheng usually started his mornings at Bean Rush, the campus cafe with the world's slowest baristas but best croissants. According to the novel, this was where Lin Yuhan always passed by on his way to the library. This was the scene. The meet-cute. All she had to do was sit Gucheng at the corner table, give him his usual, black coffee, 1 sugar, and wait for Lin Yuhan to walk by. Yuan Ru. Gucheng raised an eyebrow as she popped out of nowhere in front of him. Oh, good morning, she said, trying to play it cool. I thought I'd join you for your tragic caffeine ritual. He gave her a flat look but didn't argue. I ordered for both of us. You always get the caramel latte. She blinked. You remembered? His brow furrowed slightly. You always complain if it's wrong. He grinned. Fair. They took their usual seat by the large glass window. Yuan Ru sipped her drink and scanned the cobbled path just outside the cafe. Any moment now. Lin Yuhan would stroll by with his earbuds in and a tote bag full of textbooks, lost in thought. Then Guqing would glance up, stand, say something unexpectedly sincere, and be in romantic tension city. Yuan Ru, Guqing said after a few minutes of silence. Are you watching for someone? Me? No. Oh yes. But not in a weird way. He sipped his coffee. You're trying to push me at Lin Yuhan again. Is it working? No. Before she could defend her matchmaking efforts, the cafe bell rang. Ding. She whipped around, expecting Lin Yuhan's shy little half-smile. But instead, black hoodie, coffee in hand, familiar smirk. Liang Shen, she choked, nearly spilling her latte. Guqing muttered under his breath. Again. Liang Shen didn't acknowledge either of them at first. He simply strolled to the counter, picked up a croissant from the bakery rack, and turned as if he'd just noticed them. Oh, he said flatly. You again. You again. Yuan Ru echoed. What are you doing here? It's a cafe. He took a bite of his croissant. People come here. Coincidence? She asked suspiciously. Or fate, he said, chewing. Guqing sighed. You're stalking her now? Relax, President Perfect, Liang said, sliding into the seat next to Yuan Ru. I just like the croissants. Yuan Ru inched her chair away. There are other croissants. At other cafes. Far from here. Liang Shen leaned his elbow on the table, turning to face her. But none as sweet as this one. Guqing choked on his drink. Are you flirting with her? Yuan Ru pointed at herself. Are you flirting with me? Liang Shen popped another bite into his mouth and said nothing. Which somehow made it worse. This was getting out of hand. In the novel, Liang Shen didn't even meet her until chapter 6. He was supposed to be aloof, distant, vaguely threatening, not casually munching on croissants like a part-time poet with a caffeine addiction. She stood up abruptly. I have to go. Guqing raised a brow. You just sat down. Sudden, library emergency. Liang Shen stood too. I'll walk you. No, that's fine. I insist. And just like that, Yuan Ru found herself walking side by side with the most dangerous plot wrecker in the story. The path between the cafe and the library was quiet, lit with slanted rays of sunshine that filtered through the branches overhead. Yuan Ru kept her eyes on the cobblestones, clutching her bag like it was a shield. Liang Shen, meanwhile, walked with infuriating calm. You don't have to follow me, she said, not looking at him. I'm not. We're just heading the same way. To the library? He shrugged. I like quiet places. You don't even have a bag. I have pockets. Yuan Ru turned sharply. Look, what do you want? He stopped, 1 foot ahead of the other, and tilted his head at her. Want? Yes. You're not supposed to be here. You're supposed to, she clamped her mouth shut. Supposed to what? He asked, voice low. Nothing. Liang Shen stepped closer and the playful smirk vanished, replaced by something unreadable. You act like you know me. He swallowed. I read about you. That wasn't technically a lie. Is that so? He murmured. Then you should know this. I don't play by anyone's script. The sunlight fell across his features, highlighting the sharp angles of his jaw and the faint scar above his brow. In the novel, that scar was from a childhood accident never explained. Readers speculated. Fan theories ran wild. But standing here face to face with him, Yuan Ru suddenly understood the truth. Liang Shen wasn't a character anymore. He was real. And dangerously unpredictable. I should go, she said quickly, backing away. He let her. But just as she turned to leave, he said, You dropped something. She paused. What? He held up a small envelope. Her heart skipped. She didn't remember carrying one. He took it and turned it over. It was blank. But when she opened it later, tucked away in the quiet corner of the library, her fingers trembled. Inside was a drawing. A bunny holding a tiny cup of coffee. And a note. If you're going to play matchmaker, don't forget yourself in the process. Alice. Yuan Ru closed the envelope slowly. Oh crap. She was officially in the story. Just not the one she thought. Chapter 3. Morning jog with trouble. Yuan Ru had one goal that morning. Burn off anxiety, not the plot. It was 6:45 a.m. and the university's main park was still wrapped in morning mist. Birds chirped from high branches. The occasional jogger passed by with earbuds in and faces relaxed. It was peaceful. The kind of quiet you could only get when the world hadn't had enough coffee yet. She bounced in place, tying the laces of her sneakers. Hey. Just a run. A normal, brain-cleansing, love story-straightening jog. Her plan? Jog alongside Gu Qing, who always ran the lake route at precisely 7 a.m. Accidentally cross paths with Lin Yuhan, who usually took his dog Dabao out for a morning walk. Watch romantic sparks fly. Mission accomplished. She exhaled. No Liang Shen. No side plot. No more bunny drawings. Not that she'd secretly folded the coffee bunny drawing and tucked it into her planner. Of course not. That would be ridiculous. Just as she rounded the first bend in the path, she spotted Gu Qing jogging toward her from the opposite direction. He was in sleek black running gear, hair slicked back, forehead just lightly misted with sweat. He looked like a walking fitness ad for brooding CEOs who jog. She waved. Hey. He slowed. Yuan Ru. I thought I'd join your run today. You know, cardio and camaraderie. He looked slightly alarmed. You don't run. Sure I do, she said, already huffing slightly. When, emotionally fleeing things. Gu Qing stared. What does that mean? Nothing. Let's jog. She started trotting beside him with all the grace of a baby giraffe learning to walk. But she was committed. She was not letting the plot veer off course again. Today would go according to the book. 5 minutes in, Gu Qing offered her a sideways glance. You're really out of breath. I'm saving energy for the twist ending. He gave a slight smirk. What? Never mind. They turned down the path that wrapped around the lake. The mist shimmered across the water's surface, and the air smelled of damp grass and sunshine. Just ahead, yes. There he was. Lin Yuhan in soft gray sweats, gently walking his fluffy white Pomeranian. Cue romantic encounter. Yuan Ru opened her mouth to say something, anything, to nudge Gu Qing forward. But before she could move, a blur of motion zoomed past her right shoulder. She blinked. No. Liang Shen. Wearing low-slung joggers, a dark muscle tank, and the smuggest expression in the galaxy, he slid to a stop in front of them like it was his own personal movie entrance. You, she gasped. He pulled out an earbud and grinned. Good morning, sunshine. Gu Qing growled. Do you live in our orbit now? Maybe I like the scenery. Lin Yuhan, still at a distance, hesitated, then turned around and walked the other direction. Yuan Ru deflated like a dropped souffle. Wait. No. Lin Yuhan. But Dabao barked happily and trotted off with his oblivious owner. Plot moment completely derailed. Liang Shen watched them leave, then turned to her. Was that supposed to be a meet cute? You just ruined everything. I was running. This is a public park. You cut off the scene. He tilted his head. Scene. Gu Qing crossed his arms. You're doing this on purpose. Liang Shen reached up to adjust his sweat-dampened hair. Muscles flexing like a flex was just a casual stretch for him. And if I am? You're not part of this story. Yuan Ru blurted before she could stop herself. Both men looked at her. What? Liang said, voice calm. I mean, you weren't supposed to be in this part of the story. This chapter, I mean. Gu Qing frowned. Are you okay? Yuan Ru waved her arms wildly. No. Maybe. Look, I just wanted you and Lin Yuhan to reconnect. You were this close. And then he, she pointed at Liang Shen, ruined it with his gym poster entrance. Liang Shen raised a brow. You want me to disappear that badly? She opened her mouth, then closed it. As the truth was, no, he didn't. And that was the real problem. I don't know, she muttered, looking at the ground. Liang Shen stepped forward, suddenly serious. Then why do you keep pretending you do? She looked up at him, stunned. For a moment the morning birds stopped chirping. The breeze held its breath. The lake sparkled in the quiet and everything paused, like the world was waiting to see what she'd say. Gu Qing cleared his throat loudly. I'm heading back. And just like that, the moment shattered. He gave Yuan Ru one last glance, unreadable, almost cautious, before jogging off without another word. She stood there, breathless. Liang Shen still hadn't looked away. I wasn't trying to ruin anything, he said. I just wanted to run. With you. You don't even know me. Maybe, he said, eyes narrowing. I want to. The breeze picked up again, tousling her hair and carrying the scent of fresh grass and spring blossoms. And even though her brain screamed, stay in your lane, girl, Her heart thumped annoyingly loud. "You're not supposed to be here," she whispered. He smiled. "Too bad." Back in her dorm, Yuan Ru sat on her bed, legs crossed, head in her hands. This was spiraling. Liang Shen wasn't just a glitch in the plot anymore. He was becoming the plot. And the worst part? Some deep, traitorous part of her didn't mind at all. Chapter 4. Pancakes and Plot Holes. Yuan Ru was standing in front of the dormitory kitchen stove with flour in her hair, batter on her sleeves, and smoke rising from a very tragic-looking frying pan. "This was supposed to be symbolic," she muttered, poking a misshapen pancake with a spatula. "Comfort food. Emotional bridge building. Not a crime against breakfast." Today was supposed to be her big redemption arc. After the Jogrun plot fail incident, she needed to get the story back on track. Guqing was moody. Lin Yuhan was avoiding everyone. Liang Shen, well, he was everywhere she didn't want him to be. Or maybe she did want him there and that was the problem. She shook her head furiously and focused on the task at hand. Operation Pancake Diplomacy. According to her memory of the novel, there was a perfect scene where Yuan Ru, the original version, invited Lin Yuhan to breakfast, hoping to ease tension and let him vent. In the book, it was a touching moment of friendship that helped him realize how much Guqing meant to him. Yuan Ru cracked another egg into a bowl. "We're doing this. I'm saving this story one warm, slightly overcooked pancake at a time." She set the table with mismatched plates, cute bunny mugs, and an emergency can of whipped cream to distract from how lopsided the pancakes were. A knock on the door jolted her. He peeked through the crack. "Lin Yuhan." "Hey," he said, eyes sleepy and hair still fluffy from bed. "You said there'd be pancakes?" "Yes." "Come in," she said, swinging the door open like she hadn't just wiped batter on her skirt 5 seconds ago. He stepped in, eyeing the chaotic kitchen. "Are you okay? Why does everyone keep asking me that?" "Because that pancake looks like a map of Australia." She shoved the plate at him. "Eat and pretend it's heartfelt." Lin Yuhan laughed softly and sat at the table. "You're really going hard for this breakfast bonding thing, huh?" She plopped down beside him. "Look, I know Guqing has the emotional range of a cold spoon, but he cares about you. Deeply. You should talk." Lin Yuhan poked at a pancake. "He's just confusing. Sometimes he looks at me like he wants to kiss me. Other times like I'm a problem he needs to solve." Yuan Ru bit her lip. "He's figuring it out. He's not as smooth as he looks." "He's very smooth. Not internally." They both laughed. She started to relax. The conversation was flowing. The pancakes were being eaten somehow. The main couple was communicating. The plot was back on track. Then the door creaked open. And the universe cackled. "Morning." Yuan Ru froze, spatula still in hand. Liang Shen leaned against the doorframe like it was his destiny. Black joggers. White hoodie. Slightly damp hair. And a bag of groceries in his arm. "I brought eggs," he said, holding them up like a peace offering. "Yours were expired." "How do you know where I keep my eggs?" He grinned. "You left your fridge open last night." "Again." Lin Yuhan blinked. "You've been here before?" "No." Yuan Ru said quickly. "Yes," Liang Shen said at the same time. She shot him a death glare. He just smiled and walked in, brushing past her to place the eggs on the counter. "I figured you'd mess up breakfast," he said, looking at the charred remains of pancake attempt number 3. "So I brought real food." "We're fine," Yuan Ru insisted. But Lin Yuhan was now watching Liang Shen with interest. "Are you two friends?" "No," she said. "Maybe," Liang Shen said at the same time. Lin Yuhan raised an eyebrow. "That was oddly synchronized." "We are not synchronized," Yuan Ru huffed. "We're not anything." "You sure?" Liang Shen asked, reaching up to flick a speck of flour off her nose. "Because this feels like something." Her heart did that annoying thump-thump thing again. Lin Yuhan blinked slowly. "You like her?" Liang Shen didn't deny it. He just gave Yuan Ru a slow, deliberate smile that made her want to throw a pancake at his face. "She's interesting," he said casually. "Sunshine with a little static." "That's not a compliment." "I meant it as one." Lin Yuhan stood and stretched. "Well, this has been something. I'll talk to Guqing." Yuan Ru blinked. "Wait, you will." "Yeah," he said with a soft smile. "This helped." "You helped." He waved, grabbed one last pancake and headed out the door. The moment it closed, she turned to Liang Shen with narrowed eyes. You were not invited. Good thing I'm charming. You're messing with the story. He stepped closer, voice low. Maybe I'm making a better one. Liang Shen. I know I'm not part of your plan, he said, now standing just inches away. But you're the only person in this world who talks to me like I'm a person. Not a problem. Not a side note. Just me. Yuan Ru's breath hitched. His eyes were dark and unreadable but not cold. Never cold, not with her. I never thought someone would notice me, he said. Not like you do. She stepped back. Her heart didn't. I need to clean up, she whispered. He nodded, stepping away. Save me a pancake next time. There won't be a next time. He turned back, grinning. That's what you said yesterday. And with that he left, again, leaving the smell of syrup, flour and confusion behind. Later, as she scraped another pancake off the pan, Yuan Ru stared out the window at the glowing campus path. Plot? What plot? Because this wasn't just her helping Gu Qing and Lin Yuhan anymore. This was something else entirely. And she didn't know if she could stop it. Or if she wanted to. Chapter 5. Morning Class Mayhem. It was 7:58 a.m. Yuan Ru was seated in Lecture Hall B, third row from the front, 2 seats to the left, prime matchmaking real estate. She sipped her overpriced iced coffee like it was liquid courage and stared at the door. This is it, she whispered to herself. Classroom scene. Subtle tension. Flirty glances. Lin Yuhan sits next to Gu Qing. I take notes. We win. Everyone's happy. She had it all mapped out in her head. Lin Yuhan would walk in first. Gu Qing would follow, sit beside him and offer his pen like the cold, aloof gentleman he was. Yuan Ru, humble sidekick, would beam in the background. But then the door opened and in walked Liang Shen. Wearing a denim jacket, white tee and his usual resting devil face. Yuan Ru choked on her coffee. What is he doing here? Liang Shen was not a literature major. He didn't even attend morning classes in the novel. He was the guy who made mysterious disappearances, not timely arrivals. Yet here he was, walking down the lecture steps like he hadn't just hijacked her entire plotline for 4 chapters straight. And then it got worse. He locked eyes with her, smirked and sat down. Right next to her. Yuan Ru stared at him open-mouthed. What are you doing? Attending class, he said, sliding his phone into his pocket. Isn't that what students do? You're not in this class. New transfer, he said, pulling out a black notebook. Switched majors. To literature? He leaned in, a little voice teasing. Maybe I like stories. She gawked at him. Was he trying to become a main character? Was this novel going full genre twist? Before she could spiral, the professor walked in, setting down a thick stack of notes with a thud. Behind him, Gu Qing strolled in and, as predicted, sat in his usual seat, 2 rows up. Yuan Ru gestured frantically at him. Lin Yuhan entered a few seconds later, saw her flailing and raised a brow. Then he noticed Gu Qing and his steps slowed. He hesitated just for a second, but then walked down and sat beside Gu Qing like it was no big deal. Yuan Ru silently fist-pumped under the desk. Match made. Progress resumed. Plot stable. She looked sideways at Liang Shen to celebrate the small victory. And nearly flinched. He was watching her. Not in a bored, passing way. Not like he was trying to annoy her. But like she was the story he was trying to understand. You really care about them, he said quietly. It's their book, she whispered back. I'm just here to help. Funny, he murmured. Because lately it feels like I'm reading yours. She stared at him, mouth dry. Danger. Danger. Dangerous levels of flirting detected. She tried to focus on the lecture, which was, ironically, about unreliable narrators in romantic fiction. The professor droned on about how sometimes the story isn't what the characters think it is. Yuan Ru scribbled. Maybe I'm the unreliable narrator. Maybe I'm the detour. Then she looked over and caught Liang Shen copying her exact handwriting. He snatched her notebook. Are you copying my notes? I liked the way you phrased it. Why are you like this? He tilted his head. Like what? Infuriating. Constant. Plot wrecking. His smile faltered just a fraction. You really hate me that much? Yuan Ru opened her mouth and stopped. Did she hate him? No. Of course not. She hated that he'd made her question everything. That he made her laugh at the worst times. That he was becoming harder to ignore. Chapter by chapter, look by look, crooked smile by crooked smile. She sighed. I don't hate you. I'm just trying to do what I came here to do. Help them fall in love, he said. Even if it breaks your own story. She didn't respond. He didn't need her to. Because in that moment Yuan Ru felt it. The shift. The real tension in the room wasn't between Gu Qing and Lin Yuhan anymore. It was between her and Liang Shen. After class she hurried out into the morning sun, desperate for air, answers, anything to ground her again. But Liang followed naturally. I'm not trying to ruin anything, he said, keeping pace beside her. I just want to be near you. She stopped walking. Birds chirped. Sunlight spilled over the path. And the breeze carried the scent of freshly baked bread from the nearby cafe. Why? She asked. He didn't hesitate. Because I've never been seen before. Not like this. Not like how you see me. Her throat tightened. You were never supposed to fall for me, she whispered. I wasn't supposed to be seen, remember? And then, before she could stop him, he reached out and gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. His fingers brushed her cheek, soft and warm and impossibly real. I don't care about their story, he said. I just want to be part of yours. Yuan Ru walked away. Not because she wanted to, but because she didn't know how to stay. And that terrified her. Chapter 6. Eggs, Emotions and Eavesdropping. Yuan Ru's morning began with a cracked egg. Literally. She'd opened the fridge with a groggy yawn, reached for the carton and crack. One rogue egg leaped out and splattered on the floor like her hopes of keeping the plot together. Yep, she muttered. That feels right. She knelt to clean it up, the cold tile biting into her knees. It was just past 8 a.m., and the dormitory kitchen was warm with soft light. The hum of a distant coffee machine sounded comforting, but her thoughts were far from peaceful. Ever since Liang Shen had touched her cheek outside the lecture hall yesterday, her world had felt upside down. She'd come into this novel with a mission, to support the main couple, to make sure the love story unfolded just as it had in the book. But now, it felt like a different story was being written. One that didn't have a neat outline or predictable ending. She sighed and stood up just as someone knocked on the open kitchen door. Thought you might need backup, said a familiar voice. She looked over her shoulder and there he was. Liang Shen, holding a grocery bag and wearing that too casual white t-shirt that made him look like trouble wrapped in morning light. She blinked. Why do you keep showing up with eggs? He grinned. Because you keep breaking them. He stepped inside, set the bag on the counter, and began pulling out breakfast items like it was a perfectly normal thing for him to do. Toast, butter, scallions, and Tata real eggs, he said. She crossed her arms. Is this a new routine? Surprise kitchen invasions. Maybe, he said, cracking one egg into a pan like a pro. Or maybe I just like having breakfast with you. You're not even supposed to like anyone, she said. You're the moody side character. Mysterious. Brooding. Unavailable. He flipped the egg. Maybe I got tired of playing a part one didn't choose. Yuan Ru opened her mouth, then closed it. He plated the eggs with alarming finesse and slid one across the counter toward her. Truce breakfast, he said. She stared at the plate. Then at him. I'm still not letting you ruin the original couple's story, she said, grabbing a fork. I'm not trying to, he replied calmly. I'm just adding a subplot. She took a bite, and immediately hated how good it tasted. Fine, she mumbled. Truce for now. He leaned against the counter, sipping a glass of juice like a prince of chaos. So, what's next in your matchmaking mission? Gu Qing and Lin Yuhan have midterms, she said, trying not to look too impressed by his cooking. I'm planning a quiet study session. Coffee, flashcards, and a hint of nostalgia. Romantic, he said, tilting his head. Want help? I don't trust your version of help. I'm great with flashcards. You'd probably replace the questions with inappropriate pickup lines. No promises. She rolled her eyes, and nearly choked on her next bite when she heard voices from the hallway outside. I don't know what's happening lately, came Lin Yuhan's voice. He was close. Just beyond the door. Yuan Ru quickly stepped toward it, then paused. Gu Cheng's voice followed, low and uncertain. You're avoiding me. There was a long silence. I didn't know what to say, Lin Yuhan replied. I thought you were interested, but then you pulled away. I'm not good at this, Guqing said. But I never stopped wanting to try. With you. Yuan Ru felt her breath hitch. This is it. The moment the novel had been building toward. She slowly, carefully moved back to her seat, pretending she wasn't hearing every word of it. Liang Shen, to his credit, didn't interrupt. He simply watched her, quiet and still. I miss you, Guqing said just outside. Yuan Ru swallowed hard. There was another pause. And then Lin Yuhan laughed, soft and teary. You're terrible at talking. Yeah, Guqing said. But I'm trying now. The footsteps faded down the hallway. Yuan Ru pressed a hand to her chest. It's working, she thought. The story is back on track. She looked up at Liang Shen, expecting him to look annoyed. Disinterested. Jealous maybe. But instead he was smiling just a little. You really care, he said. I told you, she said. This isn't my story. He walked over and leaned beside her. Close enough for her to smell soap and sunshine and just a bit of trouble. Then why, he said softly, does it feel like I'm in your story, not theirs? She didn't answer. She couldn't. After he left, she stayed in the kitchen for a while, finishing the eggs and watching the sunlight shift across the counter. Her chest felt full and hollow all at once. Because Liang Shen was right. Somewhere along the way, her heart had stopped rooting for the original love story, and started living in her own. And that terrified her. Chapter 7. Coffee confession almost. Yuan Ru was not panicking. She was just sweating aggressively. Inside a cafe. In front of a very confusing boy. I just needed caffeine, she said, clutching her drink like a lifeline. Across from her, Liang Shen stirred his espresso with all the calm of someone who hadn't turned her life upside down by existing. You texted me to meet you here, he said mildly. At 7:45 a.m. For an important update. I did. He gave her a look. You sent an emoji of a rabbit holding a megaphone. Okay, maybe I panicked a little. He leaned forward. What's wrong? Everything, she blurted. The story is back on track. Guqing and Lin Yuhan are finally making progress. They had coffee this morning. Together. And flashcards. And soft eye contact. Liang Shen blinked. Sounds cozy. It was. And I was so happy. Because that's what I'm here for, you know? To support the story. To get them to the ending they deserve. She took a shaky breath. But then I thought about how you always show up in the mornings. How you bring eggs. How you flirt. And how I don't hate it. He watched her carefully. I'm supposed to be a side character, she whispered. But I keep thinking about you instead. And it's wrong. I'm not supposed to feel anything. Liang Shen set down his spoon. But you do. I don't want to ruin the story. He tilted his head. What if you are the story? I'm not. I read the book. And now you're rewriting it. Her throat tightened. I'm scared. He didn't tease her this time. He didn't smile. He just looked at her with that rare, quiet sincerity that stripped everything else away. So am I, he said. Because this, he gestured between them, was never supposed to happen. But I don't care anymore. I like you. Her heart stopped. He said it so plainly. Like it didn't cost him anything. Like it meant everything. She stared at him, completely stunned. And then the door opened. Yuan Ru. She jumped. Lin Yuhan, bright and breathless, walked in holding a tiny gift box. Oh, sorry. Am I interrupting? Liang Shen leaned back in his seat, walls instantly going back up. Probably. Yuan Ru stood, trying to remember how to use her limbs. What's up? Lin Yuhan grinned. Guqing and I, we're going to the spring market this weekend. As a date. And it's because of you. So, this is for you. He handed her the box. Inside was a tiny charm. A bunny holding a coffee cup. Her throat closed. You've been the best wing woman, he said. I don't know how you pulled it off, but we're good now. Thanks to you. She smiled, blinking rapidly. You guys are perfect. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Liang Shen stand. Quietly. Fully. Congrats, he said, voice flat. See you around, sunshine. And then he walked out the door before Yuan Ru could say anything. She found him an hour later, sitting alone on a bench near the library garden, one earbud in, unread book on his lap. You left, she said. He didn't look at her. You had your happy ending. I don't care about their happy ending right now. He turned slowly. Then what do you want? She opened her mouth but no sound came out. What did she want? To keep her mission? Her purpose? Or to follow the person who had never once fit into the story but somehow fit her? I want to be honest, she whispered. He stood. Closed the distance between them. Then I like you, she said. Even though I wasn't supposed to. Even though I tried not to. Liang Shen stared at her, unreadable. And then finally he smiled. Good, he said softly. Because I've been waiting for you to admit it. They didn't kiss. Not yet. But when he reached out and took her hand, warm and real and slightly calloused, he squeezed back. And for the first time since entering this world, Yuan Ru stopped worrying about the original plot. Because whatever story this was now, it was hers. Chapter 8. Morning Rain and Maybes. It was raining. A soft, silver drizzle that wrapped the university grounds in mist and quiet. The trees shimmered with droplets. The stone paths glistened like melted pearls. Yuan Ru stood under the campus pavilion, hugging her umbrella and watching the world blur behind the curtain of morning rain. She hadn't planned to meet him today. He didn't need to. Because she knew, somehow instinctively, that Liang Shen would find her. And he did. Footsteps echoed down the covered path, slow and steady until he stopped beside her. Damp hair. Gray hoodie. And eyes that didn't ask permission. They saw her. You're not wearing a jacket, she said softly. He shrugged. Didn't want to be late. She handed him the second umbrella she'd brought, without admitting she'd packed it just in case. He didn't open it. Rain's nice, he murmured. You don't have to smile when it falls. She looked up at him. Are you okay? I don't know, he said. Are you? She hesitated. Because no matter how many steps they'd taken toward each other, part of her was still stuck on the edge. Caught between chapters. Between what was written and what she wanted. This world was never supposed to be mine, she whispered. You made it yours anyway. Do you ever think about what comes after this? After the story ends? He leaned on the railing, rain dripping off his sleeves. I think, he said, happy endings aren't about final pages. They're about choice. She looked at him. Really looked. And saw the boy who once existed only in the shadows of a novel. The one who wasn't supposed to be loved. The one who smiled like he didn't deserve it. And she stepped toward him. Just one step. But it was enough. I want a new ending, she said. His brow furrowed. For them. No. For me. Liang Shen straightened. What does that look like? Her heart thudded. She reached up and brushed a raindrop from his cheek, her fingers trembling just slightly. It looks like you, she said. He didn't smile this time. He leaned in and kissed her. Soft. Slow. Certain. And when their lips met, the rain didn't stop, but it didn't matter. Because the world had already shifted. She wasn't a sidekick anymore. She wasn't a plot device or a background friend, or a reader waiting for someone else's romance. She was the girl who changed the story. And got the ending she chose. Later that morning they walked under a shared umbrella through the quiet campus paths, fingers interlaced. In the distance they passed Gu Qing and Lin Yuhan laughing over takeaway buns. 2 love stories. 2 happy endings. All rewritten by one girl who dared to fall in love with the wrong character. And found out he was the right one all along. Epilogue. Mornings together. Mornings used to be chaos. Burned toast. Broken eggs. Missed alarms. Plot panic. No. Mornings were quiet. Warm. Yuan Ru stood barefoot in a small kitchen that smelled like butter and cinnamon. A tiny chipped mug sat between her hands, white with a hand-painted bunny holding a coffee cup. The charm Lin Yuhan had given her hung from a hook by the window, catching the sunlight just right. She smiled. Somewhere behind her, Liang Shen was still asleep. Probably tangled in too many blankets, one leg always hanging off the bed like he didn't know how to exist in straight lines. She tried to fix that once. Gave up after a week. He liked his chaos now. He liked him. A groan echoed from the hallway. You made coffee without me. Yuan Ru turned just as Liang Shen appeared in the doorway, hoodie askew, hair sticking up in 5 directions. You were snoring, she said. I was dreaming. About you, he said, stretching like a cat. Stealing my coffee. She slid his mug across the counter. Dreams do come true. He grinned, took a sip and winced. You still put cinnamon in it? I like cinnamon. I like you, he muttered, leaning in to kiss her cheek. The radio played softly in the background. Outside, birds chirped, and the soft buzz of scooters and bicycles filled the sleepy city street. They had no deadlines. No big destinies to fulfill. Just slow mornings. One soft moment at a time. Later, as they sat together on the tiny balcony, knees touching, mugs warm in hand, Yuan Ru looked out over the world she once thought belonged to someone else. And she smiled. Because sometimes sidekicks don't just help write the ending. Sometimes, they get the happy one.